The Thunder even the series with the Rockets. We have a new head coach potentially in Philadelphia and much more. But we start with the Lakers absolutely waxed the Blazers yesterday. What did you see from the Lake Show?
Of LeBron, and that's what I talked as this series started. Each opportunity to take advantage of a matchup during the playoffs is crucial. And when you look at the forwards of the Blazers, not only are they depleted, Collins and without Ariza, they're still using Gary Trent III and Anthony Simons. Carmelo Anthony is 35 years old. These two forwards are LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are both first-team All-NBA. So like I said, it's important for those guys to get points. And LeBron James is being very aggressive. And here's an exclamation point for this series, Jacoby. There's going to be a play when LeBron James is guarded by one of the people I just named in the half court. They're going to throw it to him in a one-on-one situation with a live dribble like 15 to 18 feet away. He's going to rip through. He's going to go down the middle of the lane and do a one-hand tomahawk slam. That's going to be the exclamation point for this series.
Well, one thing that has really affected this series is the injury of Dame Lillard. He hurt his knee in the game last night. What do you think about that?
Well, we know Dame is a war trooper, and if he can get out there, he will get out there. We saw responded initially to his injury, his finger injury, and then this is a knee. So it's something where you got to know the difference between being injured and hurt, and erring on the side of caution. So if I'm the Portland Trail Blazers and there's some pain in his knee that could cause further damage, I have to consider not playing Dame Lillard. These playoffs have been marred in a lot of ways by multiple teams dealing with injuries. The Lakers already have 3 games. They will win this. I hope Dame can feel a lot better and put on another Showtime performance like he's given us in football so far.
Well, for the people that watch Jalen and Jacoby every day, we both saw the Bucks and the Lakers lose game 1, and we told you don't overreact. Don't overreact because these series are playing out the way that they thought they would. LeBron James, the leader of the Lakers, this to say about the tragic shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. Listen to LeBron.
Quite frankly, it's just up in our community. I know people get tired of saying it, but we are scared as black people in America. Black women, black kids, we are terrified. No, we have no idea.
Jalen, your thoughts?
I have so many thoughts on this, Jacoby. First off, Black Lives Matter. Second up, stop me if you heard these terms before. Hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. What about the fact that another unarmed black man was tragically shot, and in this case, paralyzed by law enforcement while in uniform, not actively wearing body cameras? And so I understand the platform the NBA players have, and I appreciate them using their 74% of soul to create change. That's why you see slogans on the back of the jerseys and on the floor. But I also say, anybody that feels like LeBron James needs the Orlando bubble, the NBA to mobilize, you're dead wrong. I'm saying this forever. If it happened while they in basketball, this is what we're saying, the sport can be a distraction. And so I understand where George Hill was coming from when he was like, I'd rather not even be here playing. The same thing with Donovan Mitchell, who's been on fire. I'd rather not be here playing. And the reason why I was trumpeting that, a lot of people want to make us feel like we need the corporate stage because they have the big money. But guess what? Now that cameras are available, for all of you individuals to say, oh, I didn't know that was in place. Really? Really? You didn't know black people were brutally terrorized in this country for over 400 years? You ain't know? Like that is my intelligence. Jacoby, white silence is violence. And so do not believe that NBA players, NFL players aren't the most powerful conglomerate of black people in the United States of America. They could be just powerful if they were not in the bubble. Because unfortunately, Jaylen Brown can protest right now. Malcolm Brogdon can't protest right now because they can't mobilize. And so when you have a phone and you have social media and a follower, LeBron James could walk down the street of any block and be a Pied Piper. And so this imagery that we see of this gentleman being shot 7 times and paralyzed, Jacoby, with his kid in the car. There is no justifying this level of behavior from law enforcement. There is no justification. This is why people continue to feel like how law is instituted in the United States needs to be examined. And for those that don't know, law enforcement got started was to corral slaves. That's why law enforcement got started. At first, black people, even in the police department, okay? Everybody else being in a position to where the police are there to protect and serve people that dick like me. Now, all of a sudden, we're the people that's extremely being attacked and unarmed and shot and murdered and lynched by law enforcement. And it's tragic. Very glad that LeBron James, every NBA player, anybody with a voice is continuing to stand up, let it be heard, and don't be silenced. And I'm challenging all people of color, especially those with a platform, athletes, entertainers. We need your voice. We need it right now.
When you look at the back of the NBA players' jerseys, when you see messages like enough and how many more and peace and Black Lives Matter, and when you see the incident in Wisconsin that happened, it just means that much more. We move on back to the bowl where the Thunder have evened the series with the Rockets at 2-2. Great performance from their backcourt yesterday. Jalen, do you think they have a chance to win this series against Houston?
I think they have a chance, but anytime OKC plays because of their 3 guards leading the way. And since this seems like an NCAA tournament to me, where there's 4 games in a day, it's 1 p.m. tip-offs, I noticed a trend, especially without fans. Guard play is a lot more paramount and just as important as the wing play. So when you look at teams like Toronto, look at Lowry and Bleak. They controlling everything that's happening for their squad. That's what OKC has done all year with C3 and SGA and Schroeder. And so I believe the Rockets can win this series without Russell Westbrook, but losing this game and Austin Rivers, for example, having 0 is a perfect example of why in the next round, they're definitely going to need Russ if they're going to advance.
They are going to need Russ, and Russ brought his energy while not playing on the game. He actually with the Thunder players. What do you think about going back and forth with the players, even though he was not in the game?
Appreciate his emotional investment. We don't have on the uniform. Your job is there to represent position and be a professional and contribute in shape or form, especially a former team, Jacoby. You know their trade scene. You practice against them. And I call something. It just came to mind. When
What's
Kevin
that?
Durant returned to Oklahoma, there was a player on the team that Brooke got upset at. He was fraternizing with Kate. Let me think of who that was. That was Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
My God.
And so I am not surprised.
Steven Adams is the strongest player in the NBA, and I know Russ doesn't want any smoke with him whatsoever. We spoke about it earlier. We'll get into it now. The Bucks, after losing Game 2 to the Magic and Vucevic, have to make that series 3-1 and put the Magic on the brink of elimination. Jalen, we're not going to have a conversation about the Magic next week, so let's celebrate them this week. What do you think about this series?
Nick Vucevic, and like we talked about on this program, he's a terrific center. He's not locking you down defensively, but he got all of the offensive skills, including shooting ball. And so as Orlando continues to build, they have to find which one of the young forwards can become a star. Aaron Gordon improved his jump shot. He's injured in this series, has the potential to be that for this team. And so a level of growth for a squad in the East, by the way, that made the playoffs last year and made it this year as well with an all-star player is pretty impressive for Orlando because on the national stage, a lot of people don't anticipate much out of them. And so I think they're going to have to do a lot more to become a true contender.
Well, the Magic are soon going to be sent home, and one team that is already sent home are the Philadelphia 76ers, who got swept by the Celtics, and as a result, Brett Brown, as many anticipated, was relieved of his duties as the head of the 76ers. What do you think about the future of this franchise?
I'm not foolish. I know that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are all NBA performers, and their stats in longevity, if they played 12 to 15 years nowadays, and because of their talent, they'll be in the Hall of Fame. But that don't mean that they coexist apex. And I've been telling everybody that listened to me saying this for almost 2 years. They operate their maximum at the same part of the floor that's in front of the rim. Okay, so if you're building something, you need two pillars of strength. So say that's Joel Embiid. It's hard for him to be that every day, Jacoby, because he's not going to practice all of the time, and he's not going to be on the floor all of the time, which means he's not going to be in shape all of the time. So it's hard for him to keep everybody else accountable. Ben Simmons, a terrific primary ball handler, triple-double threat, can improve his shot, but right now is not willing to take shots outside of the paint. So therefore, he needs to be surrounded by shooters.
Yep.
Al Horford ain't a shooter. He got a couple of more years on that $100 million deal. Tobias Harris is a capable shooter, but he ain't making shots in this series. All four of those players are going to be under contract here. So where does the change come from? The change has to come from getting on the telephone and seeing what you can get for Ben Simmons and or Joel Embiid. And if somebody's on the other end and you can get one of those Paul George type deals or something in the neighborhood, you got to consider it, Jacoby.
Interesting.
Joel Embiid, when I talk about injuries, and again, Joel Embiid is my guy. I got his number in my phone. But when you have the injury history, that's like having a used car. It's not, the more you drive, the more you put miles on it, the more it depreciate.
You just put the Carfax on Joel Embiid. You just put the Carfax on Joel Embiid. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. In time for the segment that Jalen loves the most, where he decides what we discuss.
Tank.
It's Keep It Moving.
Tank.
If you want to discuss the topic, if not, me, you and Method Man will keep it moving. Jalen, we start with Don Luka matching up against the Clippers after hitting his game-winning shot. Can the Mavs actually pull off this upset and take a 3-2 series lead tonight?
I don't believe the Mavs pull off this upset, but I do want to just acknowledge how it's great to watch a player's ascension in one season in sports.
Yes.
For Luka Doncic, he wasn't an all-star last year. He was a first-time all this year. And then catapulted himself into an all-NBA performer leading the playoff team, and then catapulted himself into top 10 conversations, catapulted himself having a lot of people feel like he's top 5. I'm not one of those people, but I just wanted to give him his flowers because the way he's getting 30, the way he's getting 40s, the way he's grabbing boards, the way he's dropping dimes, you know the last time I seen that with my own 2 eyes, and I've been watching basketball since 1973. It's Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Those were the 21, 22-year-old dudes out there in center as rookie, win a championship, or Larry Bird, 3 straight MVPs. And of course, there are people that came after them like a LeBron James. And so for him to be balling like he balling, the Mavs got them a 20-year player, and it's a beautiful thing to watch him and Kristaps Porzingis team up. Hopefully, KP can return in good minutes.
Luka Doncic really puts the Don in Doncic, if you put it that way, because he is the god. I mean, Luka Doncic is on the Clippers. And don't forget, when this series started, we all talked about how this was such a bad matchup for him and how they had Kawhi, they had Paul George, and they were going to shut down Doncic. Well, guess what? The Don continues to reign over the NBA. And some tells me that 20 will be the decade of Doncic.
As somebody that takes time and energy to create unique content for this space, I want to make sure I shout out brother Paul Pierce the Truth for that nickname as it relates the Don Luka. So whether it sticks or not, I'm going to make sure I pay homage to my dog.
Well, we also have another surprising series, and that is between the Jazz and the Nuggets. Donovan Mitchell continues to perform.
We got the Jazz.
Hit the brakes or keep it moving?
I say keep it moving for now.
We keep
Jim
it
gotta show me
moving.
something.
We keep it moving.
Real simple.
The Heat have moved on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
These are my two favorite underrated coaches because each of these squads, Indiana and the Heat, have an identity. The depleted Pacers were playing without Sabonis, their all-star. Congratulations. It gets serious in the next round, Miami. Keep it moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Someone close to you, maybe the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines.
He ain't going nowhere. Keep moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
My favorite athlete of all time, Usain Bolt, learned a lesson. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Usain Bolt likes to celebrate, and he celebrated in a mask-free party and then tested positive for COVID-19, the coronavirus. Jalen, what lesson does this teach the rest of us?
Everyone, this is not political. It's important right now during this time to not be going to mask-free parties. Even though you can run really fast, as a matter of fact, faster than anyone ever, you know what showing us is undefeated? The coronavirus. And he learned the hard way. Shout to Usain Bolt, our guy.
Get healthy soon. Jalen, Mike Evans set the bar so high for the Bucks offense. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Jalen, you know what I always say? Keep expectations as low as possible. Mike Evans did the exact opposite and said the Bucks can be an all-time great offense. There is something to be said for that.
They have the potential. They have the talent. But let me tell you what I don't believe they have. And I said this about Kansas City last year, and it did not come back to bite them. And I'm going to say it right now about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Questionable run game. Questionable run game. I had Ronald Jones III on my fantasy team last year. He's an ascending player.
Too many points for you.
He need to prove still to his team, I guess, that he's a 3-down back. And they did add Shady McCoy. That may become an issue for them as the season progresses.
Jalen, it is time to find out what you would need to get paid. It's time. What's your number? There's a number on everything. What is your number to wear brokini in public? That is a bikini for man. What is your number for wear this in public for a full day?
I'm not gonna be able to.
What's your number?
I can't even front, dog. A brokini is definitely cultural. First and foremost. Second, if I was put the, okay, I won't put you. I won't. You're right. Put the picture yo back up there. Okay, I can put it on you. Put the pictures in the video back up there, because that don't lie. How about that? So I'm having fun, and I'm having beverages. I actually would do that, and it wouldn't cost that much. So I would ask for $5,000.
Yeah, I would wear a brokini tomorrow. I'm going to wear a brokini on the show when we get the break. Stay tuned. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, yesterday I had the honor of joining you at the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy golf outing. Why is education reform so important?
Because we live in a country where, unfortunately, the quality of your education is defined by your zip code. And that's racially charged, and that's systematically oppressed and set up that way. So starting a tuition-free open enrollment public charter high school allows me to currently influence 400 plus high school scholars, another 500 plus that are in college. We've had college graduates already. So that's why I'm proud when I'm watching NBA games and I see players with education reform on the back of their jersey.